Bienvenidos, aloha, and welcome into Sunset Rewind. We're here at Davidson Field, home of the Newport Harbor Sailors and the Corona Del Mar Sea Kings, one of the great historic stadiums of the Sunset League. Howard, it's fun to be on location.
Absolutely. Love being out here in the environment, in the atmosphere, one of the historic stadiums in Orange County. So happy to be out here at Davidson.
And before we get into our recap episode from the first week of Sunset League games, take a minute, follow us on social media at Sunset_Rewind, subscribe to our YouTube channel, buy a magazine at your next home game, and we're dropping the website this week. And that's a big deal. I don't think folks know how cool this is going to be.
Yeah, we'll have rankings, we'll have stats, we'll have schedules, we'll have post-game recaps. Everything related to Sunset League football coverage you can find on the website. So that'll be something fun to add to the coverage we're bringing to the league.
It'll be the hub for Sunset League football. All right, let's get right into the games. Los Al beat up on the Corona Del Mar Sea Kings 42-14 at Westminster High School on Thursday night. Los Al moves to 5-1 on the season. The Sea Kings, they dropped to 5-1, their first loss of the year. And Howard, before we get into the analysis, I do just want to say to the Los Al faithful, I know I went out on a limb. I picked the Sea Kings in the upset on our preview show, and I'm not going to apologize for it. I stand by my pick, but to all of the Griffin faithful, I'll eat my crow sandwich today. I was wrong. I admit it.
Hey, we can't be right with all the predictions that we make. We love the Sea Kings here, but we know how talented the Los Al Griffins are, so it was a tough matchup. You know, I'm not mad at you for making the pick. You'll be back this week. Let's see who you take.
Well, let's talk about the game, and before we get into the analysis of the game and what went down, we talked to Coach Dan O'Shea this morning, and Howard, you and I, we always talk about what does it take to pull off the upset? What does it take to beat a team like the Los Al Griffins? You have to execute if you're the other team, if you're the opponent, and the Sea Kings didn't do that. Coach O'Shea talked to us about that this morning.
We knew we had to coach very well, and we knew we had to play very well against a very talented team. And we did neither. We did not coach well. We did not play well. Hence, in our evaluation of ourselves, I've told you before, we don't play other teams. We base our evaluation of how we play after a game on us, and we did not do anything well.
Well, Los Al's a team that it's tough to not make any mistakes against. When they're bringing that kind of talent, they're bringing that kind of those bodies on the front seven, all these guys, we always talk about it. They got a bunch of guys that are going to college just on their front seven alone. So what they do is they get penetration, they put pressure on the quarterback. David Razor was on the run all night. They just make it impossible for you to get comfortable and impossible for you to run your offense, and that's exactly what the Los Al defense did. You combine that with what they're bringing at you on offense, multiple skill positions. We know going to Oklahoma, multiple guys getting Pac-12 offers. There's just so much talent on this Los Al offense that they got whatever they wanted on Thursday night. They looked like a well-oiled machine. Malachi Nelson, he did what we expected him to do. He's throwing the ball deep. He's throwing the ball short. He's going through his reads. He takes off and runs when he needs to. He's throwing the ball to Mekhi Lemon, to DeAndre Moore, guys that we know often have huge nights. They're impossible to cover. Then you throw a guy like Gavin Porch in the mix who had a huge night on Thursday, and the Griffins, their offense is just too high-powered.
Well, we talked to offensive coordinator TJ Fenton this morning about the reigning Sunset League All-Purpose Player of the Year, Gavin Porch, who a litany of names when we talk about the Griffins, and we knew Gavin Porch was going to have a big game. He did against the Sea Kings. Here is what TJ Fenton had to say.
He was dynamic with the ball in his hands, whether it was through the air or through the ground. Showed off his running skills. Obviously, he's a very talented receiver for us, and we're not surprised. Gavin does such a great job in practice all week. What he did during the bye week, during the week leading up to preparation, we're not surprised.
So yeah, as we expected, Los Al, they did some excellent things. They made it tough on the Sea Kings, but Corona Del Mar, they did some good stuff too. You know, despite the pressure that David Razor was under, despite the tight coverage from the defensive backs, they found some holes and made some plays in the passing game. John Tipton had over 100 yards receiving. He had a touchdown. So it was a big night for some guys. And Coach O'Shea, he told us he liked the way that David Razor stayed poised. And when he had opportunities, he threaded the needle, got balls into tight coverage, and his guys were able to make plays for him. So there were some positives for the Sea Kings, even though it felt like a lopsided contest.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, CDM is still a very good football team. I saw Los Al get punched in the mouth against Santa Margarita, and I wondered how they would bounce back, how they would respond with all that talent, with going undefeated in the COVID season. They bounced back, and again, we see that they are as good as we thought they could be. got a huge game. We'll talk about that in our preview show. They got a huge game against Edison, but Sea Kings are still a very good team. Los Al is just that team. Actually, we talked to Coach O'Shea this morning. He said they're the best public school team he's seen in the last 20 years in Southern California. So excited to see what happens with Los Al. Now, Howard, before we go on to the rest of the games, the other two games in the Sunset League, let's take a minute to hear from one of our sponsors, GoldenCom. You've seen the Sunset Rewind shows, you've read the Sunset Rewind magazine, but now you can get your hands on Sunset Rewind hats made for us by our sponsor, GoldenCom. Pick one up. There's a limited edition, by the way, so make sure you act fast. Pick one up at your next home football game. They are $30 each. $15 goes back to your football program, and $15 comes back to us, Sunset Rewind, to support what we do, which is supporting high school football. So pick up a hat. There's limited quantities, and they were made by GoldenCom, our sponsor, which, if your website's not working as hard as you want it to, check out GoldenCom, and they'll get you dialed in. Now, back to the show. The other Thursday night game in the Sunset League for the opening week was Newport Harbor on the road taking on Edison. The Chargers won big, firing on all cylinders, 50-14. They move to 4-2 on the season, and the Sailors lose their fourth in a row. They drop to 1-5. Now, before we get into our analysis of this game, we got to show you what might end up being the play of the year from the Sunset League. This is Tyler Hampton's first half touchdown catch that was jaw-dropping.
1st and 10 Chargers. Working from left to right on the Sailors' 15-yard line. Punched it in on a Troy Fletcher run their last time out. Awad out of shotgun. Throws a dart to the end zone. Oh, my goodness!
That's the best catch I've ever seen in high school.
Tyler Hampton.
That's the best catch I've ever seen in high school football. That was ridiculous.
Touchdown, Chargers. Tyler Hampton just had the highlight reel to end all highlight reels.
That was a true Odell Beckham Jr. one-handed grab, palm the football.
Well, as I mentioned during the game, that's one of the best catches I've ever seen in high school, maybe one of the best catches I've ever seen in football. I mean, unbelievable effort. That's a highlight play. When I saw it, I'm thinking this has to be a SportsCenter top 10, but that's the kind of guy that Tyler Hampton is. He's an athlete. He's a big guy. You want to see him make a play in the back of the end zone. You never think it's going to be that spectacular, but you always talk about it. He's a state champion high jumper. He's a big man on the basketball team, and he's out here earning his money as a big body wide receiver for the Chargers.
Yeah, he's going to play somewhere at the next level. I don't know at what level of the next level, but he's going to play somewhere. A few of the dudes on the Chargers are. Nico Brown just picked up a Sac State offer, but that catch by Tyler Hampton, I mean, you heard us on the broadcast. You were there, obviously. I mean, I was speechless. That was amazing.
Well, there was some great, not just Tyler Hampton, there was some excellent individual performances by the Chargers. You know, I think about a pass that Parker Awad made up the middle. He started to scramble, but he stayed in the pocket, and he threw a ball on the run to Nico Brown that was amazing. I thought to myself, the cornerback was in excellent coverage, but who the heck could make that throw and put the ball right where it needed to be? So Parker Awad did some excellent stuff. Nico Brown had a play that reminded me of Reggie Bush against Fresno State, where he stopped on the sideline, cut back, spun, made some guys miss. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the Edison weapons, we know Los Al's weapons, and we'll get into it in our preview show, but I'm so excited for this game between Edison and Los Al because the Edison weapons, man, they're something.
Well, we haven't even talked about Troy Fletcher. He's going to be up for Offensive Player of the Year in Sunset League the way he's scoring touchdowns and running the ball. They've got Tripp, they've got Hurley, there's so many guys, even Pierce and Vanderhook. Just there's a litany of wide receivers and offensive players that Edison has, and they're getting great blocking from the offensive line, which is why Parker Awad has all day to survey the field. So offensively, what they bring it's just incredible.
Well, we're over here drooling about the Edison Chargers offense and their performance. Coach Grady, in classic coach fashion, not happy. I shouldn't say not happy, but still thinks he wants to work on going into the game against Los Al.
You know, I thought we had a lot of energy. I don't think we really played to our standard, to be honest with you. I thought it was floppy. And we made up for it with some really big plays. I think as a team, I don't think our team was overly happy with the way we played either.
That doesn't surprise me from Coach Grady. Even though we're going crazy about some of the individual performances and the team performance on offense and on defense, Coach knows that there's still a lot of work to be done. Yeah, they had a good performance, but they're going to go up against a team like Los Al that you can't let your foot off the gas. You can't make any mistakes against a team like that, including Corona Del Mar. A lot of teams in the Sunset League, you've got to be on point. So, Coach, while of course he's happy with the win, he's going to hold his team to high standards because they want to go Sunset League Championship, CIF Championship, State Championship, and he knows that they've got to lay the foundation along the way.
Well, those standards, they start at the top and they work their way down through the players. Troy Fletcher echoed Coach Grady's sentiments after the game, talking to our reporter, Jonathan Ortiz.
How good does it feel to get this first win?
And it feels great, just coming in a league play, putting out a statement win like that. We got little things to fix up for Los Al, but we're coming for sure.
Now, the Sailors, obviously, they took a beating, 50-14, but there was a spark. In the second half, senior quarterback A.J. Guttron-Moore came in, replaced an injured Nick Kim, found Cash and Henjum for a great touchdown, and Coach Lofthouse said the team, the offense, the sideline, they responded. They found something that they liked in A.J. Guttron-Moore, and here's Coach Lofthouse telling us about his senior quarterback.
In the second half, A.J. Guttron-Moore came in and really did provide a spark. A.J.'s got a strong arm, quick release. He did provide a spark for us offensively, and hopefully he'll continue to work hard every week in practice and continue to develop and get better.
Well, we talked about it a lot this season. Newport Harbor, they have 3 capable quarterbacks. We know what Nick Kim brings, 3 years of experience. He knows the offense inside and out, played a lot of Sunset League games. Then they've got an athletic guy in Carson Diavola. He can throw the ball, but he's even more dangerous with his legs. And then you go to the guy that's listed as the third-string quarterback, but he's really as talented as anybody, A.J. Guttron-Moore. Looked very poised out there, as Coach mentioned, brought a spark to the offense, was very quick with his feet, quick with the ball, getting it out to his receivers. He looked great. So Harbor, they've got options at quarterback. We know Nick Kim's a little bit banged up right now, so they may do some experimentation this week. And they've just got to find their footing, clean some stuff up. They've got an opportunity this week against Fountain Valley to get back on track, get a big win, get some confidence, because Fountain Valley is going to be a game they have to win. And then the next week against Huntington Beach, we don't want to get ahead of it, but they've got a couple of big weeks where their season is on the line right now. So looking forward to see what Coach Lofthouse and the Sailors do to bounce back.
Yeah, the Sailors, they had playoff expectations coming into this season. They'd have to win 3 out of their next 4. So it's a tough task, but they're still hopeful. I'm not just trying to come on here and sell hope. They're still hopeful. It starts this next week against Fountain Valley. We'll see if they're able to do it. It's been tough sledding for the Sailors as of late. The lone Friday Night Lights game of the Sunset League in Week 6 was Huntington Beach at home hosting Fountain Valley. The Oilers won 42-7. They moved to 4-2 on the season, and Fountain Valley, they dropped to 1-5, their 5th loss in a row. Howard, overall thoughts on that game?
Well, it was a tough loss for Fountain Valley. That was a game in the Sunset League that they definitely circled as one that they thought they had a chance to win, but Huntington Beach came out and showed why. They're one of the better teams in Sunset League. They had a dominant performance with their defense like we always expect them to do. Coach Brown tells us that that's where it starts. It starts with their D, but we know their offense is as high-powered as they come as well. They've got a senior quarterback that's excellent in A.J. Perez, and they came out and took care of business.
Yeah, Coach Brown had high praise for his senior quarterback, A.J. Perez, when we spoke with him this morning.
It's a good relationship that we got going on, and he's really growing up and becoming a leader and, starting to take command of the offense. So impressed with his mental capacity more than his physical play of the game last night.
A.J. Perez, he's continued to get better every week. Throughout the preseason, now in Sunset League, it feels like week after week he's improving. He was over 200 yards on Friday against Fountain Valley, threw for 2 touchdowns, rushed for a touchdown. So I say it every week. When A.J. Perez is on, when he's up over 200 yards, throwing multiple touchdowns, HB always wins the game. He's distributing the ball to multiple receivers. We know Hideo Ray, Mr. Reliable for Huntington Beach, he had an excellent night. E.J. Riedrich, the running back and linebacker, played very well. Nate Tawanu, the linebacker, even got in at running back and rushed for a touchdown. So it's an offense that's clicking right now, and they're aided by their defense. Guys like Nate Tawanu, Jeff Hagedorn, Eli Anderson, these names that are always coming up making plays. And this week we saw Henry Eddy, a new name. We've seen some stuff from him week after week, but now he had a game-changing, kind of a game-defining interception in the second quarter that was followed by a Hideo Ray catch and then a touchdown that kind of sealed the game early in the second quarter for Huntington Beach. So a lot going on, and they're going in the right direction at the right time.
For sure. I mean, I'm so excited. I feel like we've been waiting to figure out how legit HB is. We'll talk about it on our preview show, but they're going to have that real test against Corona Del Mar this coming week. So I'm very excited to see how legit the Oilers are. Fountain Valley, we talked to Coach Gutierrez this morning, and he always keeps it real with us, but he did see things that were encouraging. It was tough sledding per usual for their offense. They're a little thin on the defensive front, got a lot of guys playing both ways, but Coach Gutierrez, he said there was things he was encouraged by.
I can work with bad technique or missed assignment because I can show them on film and they can fix that. The thing that we built up to is just, it's a high effort team, and I think we're coming to play.
Well, Coach Gutierrez stays positive, and it's not just blind hope that he sells us. The things that he looks at that encourage him, they're the discipline, they're the fight, the work ethic, guys playing physical. And he feels like, he's high on his linebacking core. Those guys are kind of the leader of the team. They do a lot for the defense. They're handing the ball off to Abdel Habiba and Ben Pham. These guys are running hard. So that stuff is still showing up. But the reality is Fountain Valley, they're going to struggle to win a game in the Sunset League. That's why they had Huntington Beach circled as maybe that's a game that they can get. It's going to be tough sledding for the next 4 games, but we'll watch and watch the fight and, see what Coach Gutierrez can do on these last 4 games.
I mean, that's what I like about the Barons. They are a team. It's not just Coach Gutierrez putting us in the spin cycle, putting us in the spin zone. They do show up. They do bring the effort. Even though they lose 42-7, they do show up and fight in the trenches. So I respect Coach Gutierrez for what he's building there at Fountain Valley and for the team to show up week after week and bring the effort. Well, that does it for week 6 of the season, week number 1 of Sunset League play. Great matchups. Los Al, they still look to be the team to beat. Edison's firing on all cylinders, and HB, we're going to find out how legit they are this coming week. Howard, I'm excited for another week of Sunset League football.
I can't wait. It feels like every week I want to say this is the biggest week in the league, but week 2 of Sunset League might be the biggest week of Sunset League football. So really looking forward to it. We'll be here in a couple of days with the prediction show, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Los Al Edison is basically the Sunset League championship, and so I'm very excited to talk about that on our preview show. Stay tapped in on social media. Follow us at Sunset_Rewind. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Buy a magazine, and the website is right around the corner. So all good stuff for one of the best public school leagues in the state of California. For my broadcast partner, Howard Kroom, and for all the players, parents, and coaches in the Sunset League, this is Alex Crawford saying from Saddleback to the Pacific Ocean, from the 405 to PCH, you've been watching Sunset Rewind. Thanks for tuning in.